What is going on, everybody? My name is Jacob. I have been a die-hard Pistons fan since 2003, and I'm eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we are going to go over a potential starting lineup that the Pistons could run out to start the 2024-2025 season that I truly think can win some games. Now, will this starting lineup lead us to contending? Of course not. Will this starting lineup be at risk of us losing 28 straight games, being the laughing stock of the NBA, and finishing the season at the bottom of the league? I also think that is as unlikely as us contending. I don't think it's going to happen with this starting lineup. Now, we're going to go in order of most likely to start to least likely to start. So number one on our list is also our point guard, Cade Cunningham. There is no real possible way that Cade Cunningham is not a part of the starting lineup next season. That's just obvious. There's no way around that. Cade Cunningham, super bright future. If you guys have watched this channel for long enough or at all, you guys know how I feel on Cade. Super high on him. I think that there's a real chance with better players around him, more spacing. He takes an insane year in year number 4, and I could definitely see an all-star season with him if we win some games. I truly think that he can improve that 23 points, 8 assists average to like 26 and a half, 27 points, maybe even 9 assists with this lineup. I think Cade's going to have a breakout year, and he's definitely going to be on watch for most improved player at the end of the year in the NBA. So Cade's in the starting lineup, no question. So that brings us to the player second most likely to start, and that is Jaylen Duren. Now, Jaylen Duren, of course, is only 20 years old going into this season, but he started for us all of last year when he was available. There's really no debate that Jaylen Duren is going to be our starting center, barring any sort of crazy shakeups or trades. I don't think that's going to happen at this point, though. I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened already, considering free agency is well underway. Outside of Jaylen Duren, we really don't have any true centers on the roster anymore. We no longer have Marvin Bagley. We no longer have James Wiseman. We no longer have Mike Muscala. So is there a world where the new coach, JB Bickerstaff, decides to start Isaiah Stewart at the center spot over Jaylen Duren? Maybe, but I don't want to live in that world, and I don't think I will be living in that world. Jaylen Duren will be our starting center starting off the year, and I feel pretty good about that. I think his defense could take some strides this year, and that would just put him on a different level as a true starting center caliber player in the NBA. So coming in at number 3 is our new player, former player, Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is certainly going to be in the starting lineup. The only question is it going to be at the 3? Is it going to be at the 4? I'm going to give you guys a little spoiler alert. In this lineup, I have him playing the 4. I think Tobias Harris brings something to the table that we haven't had on this team ever since Cade Cunningham has been drafted, and that is a guy who can truly play the 4 while also being able to space the floor, attack closeouts, and just score the ball on his own. I think Tobias is definitely going to start for us. There's no question he will. The contract he got was a starter contract. He started on the Philadelphia 76ers last year, who was actually one of the teams at the top of the league when they were at full health. He was also their third option scoring-wise. The only players on that team that scored more than him were Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. So Tobias Harris will be in the starting lineup. I'd say these 3 first guys are pretty much safe bets. And honestly, not the worst top 3 in the league. I really don't think so. So pretty good so far. Coming in at number 4 is Jaylen Ivy. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. This is where things get a little bit debatable. I think Jaylen Ivy will be the starting 2 at the start of the year. Of course, last year, Monty Williams came in and had his crazy idea of not only bringing Jaylen Ivy off the bench, but making him like the 11th man at some points in the year. I think Jaylen Ivy and Cade backcourt is truly going to be tested this season. I think that the new coach, the new president, all want to see if these two can play together because, to be realistic, our future depends on it. We need to find out pretty fast if these two are a mix, and I think right off the start of the season, they're going to put them out on the floor together. Right now, we're looking at Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Ivy, Tobias Harris, and Jaylen Duren. That alone is more spacing than Cade played with most of last season when he was sharing the floor with guys like Killian Hayes, Asar Thompson in the starting lineup. Just bad. So I think that overall, if Jaylen Ivy is in your backcourt with these guys, with Tobias spacing the floor and Cade bringing the ball up, stuff like that, I think it'll be great. He'll be able to play on the wing. He'll be able to catch the ball when the defense collapses, get downhill. That's where he typically shines. I think the lanes will be more open for Ivy. I think Ivy will be able to thrive in space more, just like Cade will. Overall, I think that the sophomore slump is over for Jaylen Ivy, and I'm super excited for a bounce back season for him. And also, too, I mean, he's not Ray Allen out there as a shooter, but he's not absolutely terrible where you hold your breath every time he lets one go either. He's like 34% for his career, which is only 1 or 2 points below league average. Any given night he can heat up, so definitely want to see Jaylen Ivy in the starting lineup. And that brings us to our fifth spot where things start getting really debatable, and I'm going to plug in Simone Fontecchio. Some of the other options here that I considered were, of course, Asar Thompson, our new rookie Ron Holland. I think those guys will definitely give him a run for the money, and I definitely could see why you might think that those guys should be here instead of him. I can also see a world where Bickerstaff prioritizes someone like Asar for his defense as well. But right now, I'm going with the mindset of putting the 5 players on the floor that will be most likely to help this team get off to an early start, and I think that these 5 guys will do that. So now we're looking at a lineup of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Simone Fontecchio, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren. That's a true NBA starting lineup. I have not been able to say about a lot of the starting lineups we have used over the last couple of years. This lineup has solid enough defense, not great, but overall on offense, it's way better than anything we have experienced over the last few years. The spacing with guys like Simone and Tobias on the wings will bring a whole different dynamic to the game, create so much more space for Cade and Duren to run high pick and rolls. It'll open up space for Duren to roll to the hoop easier. It'll open up space for Cade to get in his spots at the mid-range easier. Defenders won't be able to help so much in the gaps. We had so many possessions where Cade would get into the elbow area where he loves to go to work, and whoever Asar's defender was out in the corner, they just collapse in on him. Whatever. It just didn't look great with the spacing we had last year. So with this lineup, I don't think that we can contend. I know we can't contend. I know that. But I also know for a fact this will be a real NBA-looking starting lineup. The problem that this starting lineup kind of imposes is now you have Asar Thompson and Ron Holland both coming off the bench. Neither of those guys are really capable shooters at this point. I'd say the jury is still out more on Ron than it is Asar, but Asar has a long ways to go as a shooter in this league. That could be a problem because it can be difficult to stagger those guys' minutes as 2 non-shooting forwards coming off the bench, but I think there's a way you do it where it works out okay. Something like this. 6 or 7 minutes into the game, maybe 8 minutes into the game, you sub in Asar for Simone Fontecchio. That lineup plays out for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Maybe when you make that sub, maybe you bring in Isaiah Stewart in for Duren as well. And then after 3 or 4 minutes, you go ahead and plug in Ron Holland in Asar's spot and shift Asar down to the 2. Take Ivy out. Maybe let those guys rock out for a few minutes before then taking Asar back out to put Fontecchio back in. So maybe there's only a couple minutes of overlap with Asar and Holland on the floor together. Langdon said he thinks that they can play together. I don't know about that. Maybe they can. Maybe they can with Isaiah Stewart in at center. I think it can work. And I don't think that we really need to get too far in the weeds on that right now. I think that we can let this rock out with the starting lineup as listed and find some success with it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have a better idea for the starting lineup. This is obviously all potential at this point. Trades can happen. And also remember too, injuries happen as well. So any bit of opportunity that it might seem like some of the younger guys don't have with this type of lineup, just remember it's the modern NBA. Guys play no more than 70 games a year. There's going to be opportunities. I'll catch y'all soon.